Come join me for part 8 of my Pantry organization series. Today's focus, we are going to be looking at packets of gravy and different seasonings and simmering sauces. So come join us for that. We're going to do a little bit more pantry shuffling. We're going to make something out of some scraps we've got in the freezer and the refrigerator, and we're going to work on downsizing my pantry. So come along, let's see what we have in store. Welcome to an episode of Kel's Grocery Games. This is what my typical daily routine is like, going around my house, looking through freezers, rummaging through the refrigerator and the pantry, trying to find something to throw dinner together that will please everybody. So if you can figure out what I'm making, kudos to you. Now let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Kel's Grocery Games. Were you able to figure out what it is that I'm making for dinner tonight? If you said shepherd's pie, you would be correct. So just a little backstory. Corey has had 2 crowns replaced this week and had a tooth pulled that was infected and had his bone scraped. So he's been basically living off baby food type meals this week. He's been having soup, but he couldn't drink it hot. He had to make it and then let it cool off. He's been doing mashed potatoes. That's about all he can have. So he's getting better, but not at 100% yet. This has really been driving me nuts. I have some leftover Dolly Parton biscuit dough. If you watched my video where I was meal prepping breakfast for Olivia, that was my last video. And I have some leftover biscuit dough. And then I also have a leftover pie crust from when we made some quiche breakfast meal prepping the other day. So it just bugs me when I just have little tidbits sitting in the fridge. I want to hurry and do something with it. I'm going to make little individual shepherd's pie. This could be a hot mess or it could be delicious. I have no idea, but the goal is to use up what we've got. So we're making a dent in our refrigerator. We're using frozen mashed potatoes from our freezer. Also, as part of my pantry organization series, this being part 8, I can't believe it, I'm making a dent in my pantry where I can walk in and know where things are. We started out on this side of the room where we have a couple of shelves on top of my office desk, and we've slowly worked our way around the room. With all the shelf shuffling that I've been doing, I've been able to pretty much remove almost everything from this white shelf in front of you. On my desk, there's all the stuff just sitting here that I want to clean off. So what I'm thinking, I've started putting popcorn kernels on that shelf. I don't want to put anything too heavy because there's no back. I don't want to put like mason jars up there where they could fall off, slip, and break. So I'm wanting to put lightweight things that if they fall, it won't be the end of the world. So probably on the bottom shelf, because there are some glass bottles here, I'll put that back there. So this is mainly our fruit. We have a bunch of individual fruit cups, some applesauce, grilled mango. Don't know where the heck to put the boiled peanuts. We'll figure that out. We've got our Goya guava paste, just odds and ends like that. So I'm going to move that onto that shelf. And with that shelf up there, I may go ahead and empty off these salad dressings from this cart. Those bottles back there are all plastic. So if they were to fall off that shelf, I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. But again, I'm trying to consolidate and not have so many rolling carts here. So if I could do that, and then I'm still going to continue to slowly work on getting a lot of these condiments put in different areas of the pantry. And as far as that very top shelf up there, that's going to be a shelf that's going to be hard for me to access without getting out a step stool. So I think I'm going to put some of my storage bins up there. I've got a lot of odds and ends like this. I just need to get these out of the way, so I'll put everything having to do with storage container because I got a lot of them on that top shelf. I'm not trying to be clickbaity. I think I've said in the past couple of pantry organization videos that I'm working on these, but I keep getting sidetracked and things take longer than I expected. Seasoning, spices, I'm going to work on getting those in order. Really trying to figure out what to do with this shelf right here. I love this thing so much. It's so sturdy and strong and it doesn't take up a lot of space. But I'm thinking more about putting this in my kitchen and using it to put things that are open, such as bags of chips and peanuts and different things like that, because we open things and then they get set on the counter, on the table. They just clutter the place up. So I'm thinking I might move this into the kitchen. I've emptied it out. It used to have a lot of my freeze-dried snacks, my fruits, vegetables, yogurt. I've now temporarily put the girls' vegetarian stuff, their soy textured protein is in this drawer. So this is also soy textured protein. And this is awesome, by the way, smoking chipotle. If you're ever trying to bulk up your ground beef, throw something like this in there. It is delicious. This is our shelf-stable tofu. And I'm just thinking I might put this somewhere else in the pantry. I just don't know where yet. If I can get this out of here and put this in the kitchen, it'll be a useful tool in the kitchen. I'll try to find a space to put it. And then in its place, not a whole lot of space there, but if I can get the rolling cart situation down to 2 rolling carts, preferably 1, but I don't see that happening just yet, then I can roll those into its place. Now it's time for my Prepping for Eternity Bible study voiceover. In my most recent Bible lesson, I studied Hebrews chapter 12, 18 through 28. We wrapped up the chapter learning about the contrast between 2 mountains. Mount Sinai represented fear, and Mount Zion is a word picture for joy from the living God made perfect through Jesus. Looking back in Exodus, we learn that fear and trembling did not succeed in changing the heart of Israel. It was just days later that this group of people were worshiping a golden idol, praising this thing as what brought them out of Egypt. Again, this is why I keep repeating myself that reading the Old Testament is just as important as reading the New Testament. We are not under the Mosaic covenant, but the covenant of grace, yet we can still learn so much by studying the entire Bible. This study further confirms that trying to keep the old law, which is the old order, will not work. The law only condemns us and brings us knowledge of our own sin. It does not bring us salvation. That can only be found through Jesus. To try to keep up with the law, which is full of man-made traditions and rituals, implies that what Jesus did on the cross was not enough, and that when he said, "It is finished," he was not telling the truth. It is not only finished if you observe the Sabbath, you're circumcised, you confess your sins to a priest, or pray to a saint. Jesus is the only way. Once you add legalism to faith, then you are rejecting his grace as being sufficient. Why would anyone want to go back to a life of condemnation when they can approach God now through the grace of Jesus? But you have come to Mount Zion, to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem. You have come to thousands upon thousands of angels in joyful assembly, to the church of the firstborn, whose names are written in heaven. You've come to God, the judge of all, to the spirits of the righteous made perfect, to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and to the sprinkled blood that speaks a better word than the blood of Abel. And that's in Hebrews chapter 12, 22 to 24. You see, we are the church of the firstborn. If we read the Old Testament, we know that the firstborn is entitled to their father's inheritance. The blood of Abel is referencing the first blood sacrifice recorded in the Bible that was pleasing to God. Jesus is our sacrifice for our sins. The chapter closed with the writer of Hebrews reminding us that God shook the earth once on Mount Sinai and that he will do it again at the second coming of Jesus. Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, let us be thankful and so worship God acceptably with reverence and awe, for our God is a consuming fire. Hebrews 28, verse 29. So the law became our guardian to lead us to Christ, that we might be justified by faith. And that can be found in Galatians 3:24. Be very leery of people who tell you that you must keep the law to be saved. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. That's a quote from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. So if we try to keep the law, that's us relying on ourselves and not God. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. That is in Proverbs chapter 3, and that's verses 5 to 6. So I hope you find comfort and rest in him. Hazel had to come check on me and make sure I was doing okay. Another clear shelf on the rolling cart. Okay, everybody, we're making progress in here. Let me show you what I've done so far before I forget. We moved the sesame and all the salad dressings up there on that shelf from the rolling cart. We moved the fruit from this work area of my desk. We put all the bins that I'm not currently needing up there. We moved all the peppers from the rolling cart onto this area by the nacho cheese and the beans. We cleared off 2 of the rows on 2 rolling carts of gravy. We took those and put them down there with the soups, the country gravy, chipped beef gravy, and then down there in that brown bin is all the au jus sauces and brown gravy in a can. Just talking about in a can, because now we've got all the packets of gravy and different seasoning mixes that I'm about to have to go through. It feels so nice to have some space on my desk to actually work. So I'm going to spread out the packets of gravies and different mixes right here, and then we're going to get them organized. In a previous video I did of me meal prepping Olivia's breakfast for the week, I showed you the Tony Chachere's white gravy, and this is a brown gravy. So you can control the portion amount so you don't have to open up a packet. If you want to make a single serving, that's when one of these comes in real handy. Obviously you can make it from scratch too, but this is just very convenient. So I gotta go put this with my spices. Ideally, what I would like to do is fit all of my seasonings into this. I find this drawer to be very convenient, and it would just be cool to fit all of these in here. The only way I know that I'm going to do that is to remove some of the cardboard boxes, and I'll just have to deal with putting everything in order by its best by date another time. It was in order at one time. That's not the case anymore. So we've got some brown gravy here. Does it have the best by date on the individual packages? If not, then I need to go get my Sharpie. I'm going to have to get my Sharpie. I got these little party favors off Amazon that I thought were so cute. You can make little individual servings of dry mixes for hot chocolate or whatever you want to use. I mean, they just have a cork top. It'll get the job done. So what I'm thinking of doing, and I don't know yet, I'm thinking out loud here. If anybody's seen my videos, they know that I change my mind multiple times through a video. So for now, what I'm going to do is all of the brown gravy mixes, and I don't even care about the best by date. This says February of 23. I don't care. We got March of 23. Everything that's brown gravy, gonna put that together. Gonna maybe open the packages and put it in here. I don't know yet. I've got 24 of these little jars, so that will be another step. Let me set this aside. Just knowing that that's an option is good. I'm going to go through and organize the brown gravy first, because that seems to be what I have an abundance of. This bag, when you take them out of the box and dispose of the box, not all of them say what they are. This one does. So it says brown gravy, but doesn't have the best by date. So, let me see. That is February of 23, just for fun. I'll just write the best by on here. I'm just going to go through all of this and pull out the brown gravy. I have gone through everything. I've gathered all the brown gravy. Somebody tell me, please, or I can go Google this. Is au jus the same thing as brown gravy? Is it just a French way of saying gravy, brown gravy? I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and mix the au jus sauce in with the brown gravy. So these are all the packets of brown gravy that I found. Now let's load them up in one of those little glass containers. I was looking for my funnel to fit the powder in here without spilling it everywhere, but I couldn't find it, so I was just improvising. I was only able to get 2 packets in here, so I'm probably going to have to put the rest in a pint-sized mason jar or something, because I have quite a few still here. I'm going to go ahead and put these in this little container here, and I'm going to put the brown gravy au jus packets with the cans of gravy, which is down there with all our soup. I'll put the 2 packets of brown gravy that I just put into that little jar into my pantry in my kitchen. Now it's time to organize the white gravy. Some of these are flavored, like we've got a smoky country bacon, we've got roasted jalapeno, but for the most part it's It's a white gravy mix. That's a onion gravy. That might could go with the brown gravy. All right, so that's a beef gravy. Okay, this can go with the brown gravy. I overlooked these. I'm going to put together all the white gravies, and then we're going to go put those with the white gravy in the cans over by the soup. Next, I need to find a place to put all of our enchilada sauces. We've got chipotles, adobo sauce, tomatillo sauce. Since these are all basically tomato based, I'm going to put them with our tomato products and our marinara sauces and things like that. And I've got a whole nother rolling cart for tomato products. So let's see if we can clear this shelf off and find it a new home. Okay, so we are sort of under my desk where I keep all the tomato products. We've got some Augustin Farms tomato powder. These crushed tomatoes here, several cases of these at the Dollar Tree. Those are regular, like $6 or $7 at last check. They might have gone up since then from the grocery store, but we got them for $1.25 each. Salsa, some pecani sauces. More diced tomatoes. We've got our Hatch green chili back there, our Rotels. Rotel. This cart right here has just random tomato sauce, pizza sauce, sun-dried tomatoes, marinaras, marinara sauce for one, pastes, more pizza sauce. So now let's see if we can fit all the enchilada sauces somewhere over here. I've got the rolling carts almost empty. I think I can consolidate them into one now. Woohoo! We made it down to one cart. Looking good. So long, suckers. So just to recap what we've done today, we've narrowed down the spices, got it down to 2 different containers, from 3 to 2, and put all the different gravy packets down here with the soups. And we'll work on these other ones on another day. I still would like to move this into the kitchen. That's my goal. This shelving unit right here. But that's not going to happen today. I got some space cleared off here at my desk, so that's a good thing. We've got it narrowed down from 3 rolling carts to 1. Got the fruit, the dressing, and the storage bins put away. Got the peppers put up. All in all, I would say that this was a successful pantry day for me, and I got a few things accomplished. You know, having a fully stocked pantry is a constant work in progress. You're always taking things from, adding things to, so things just get shuffled around over time. That's life. So shelf shuffling is something I do on a regular basis. Please tune in next time as we work on the meat shelf and continue what I started but couldn't finish today. And then at the end of February, at the end of the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge, I will do a full walkthrough of the pantry. I know that people say that we have a lot of unusual and unique foods in our pantry because we don't just go shopping at the regular grocery stores, but we hit up a lot of specialty stores. We live in Houston, which is very diverse in culture, so we like to shop at the Asian markets, the Mexican markets, the Amish markets. We go everywhere and get a little bit of everything. So let's get started and see what's cooking in Kel's kitchen. I was telling my family that I wanted to use one of these rolling carts for like a triple bunk bed for our cats because we've got 3 cats. And sure enough, Bee went in here and laid there on her own. First, I want to make sure that I clean my table surface really well, and then I'm going to put down a little bit of flour just to keep the pie crust from sticking. And even when these things are fully thawed out, sometimes I have difficulty unrolling them without them breaking, so I just take a little rolling pin and get all the lines out, and you can just kind of pinch it shut and make it stick together. Once you line your muffin pan, you want to make sure that you blind bake the crust for 8 minutes or just according to the package directions, depending on the size. If you're doing a whole pie or whatever, you just want to make sure that you bake it first for a few minutes just to make sure that it doesn't get soggy when you add all the fillings. So now I'm going to go ahead and mix some onion. When the onions got a little bit soft, I went ahead and added my garlic, followed by some thyme. Just let that simmer a bit. And then I put the water and the bouillon. This time I used the Italian herb. That really brought this dinner to the next level. I was out of beef broth. I didn't feel like opening another Better Than bouillon. We've got about 10 open in our cabinet right now. Plus, the girls were going to be eating some of this with us, and I wanted to keep it as vegan as possible, and that's why I'm making them their little separate serving of the textured protein. And then I'm putting a little bit of white gravy. You're supposed to add flour to kind of thicken it up, and I just went ahead and used some of the gravy that I had from breakfast this morning. So I went and drained our canned ground beef and then made Corey and I a separate serving, and I had to pick out all these fat pieces. But I made the girls their little serving with vegetables and broth, and then did the same for Corey and I. And then, so this is the girls right here, and I'm going to make sure to put a toothpick in theirs so we can tell them apart once I add the mashed potatoes to the top of it. Once I finished filling these little pie crusts, I grated up some cheese, which is totally optional. Not everybody puts that on their shepherd's pie. But I went ahead and put cheese on everything, followed by the mashed potatoes, which were still a little bit frozen. Like I said earlier, I pulled them out of the freezer. I tried to microwave them. I let them sit out for a bit, so that's why they look a little bit stiff already, but they were delicious. Now we are going to put these into the broiler setting on the oven and just kind of get the top a little bit brown. This took about 5 to 7 minutes. Once I pulled it out, I put little parsley flakes on top just for garnish. I was so hungry that I had to have one of these right away when it was still piping hot. That's why it kind of came apart a little bit. But I also broiled them for a little bit longer just because the potatoes were frozen. This was a hit with the whole family. The girls liked their vegetarian alternative, and Corey was able to eat this despite having surgery and crowns put on his teeth. It was a hit using what we got. We'll do it again soon. Even Hazel loved this. I finished eating and put my plate up on the bar, and she was just sitting there like a little kangaroo begging for it. It was a hit with the entire family. We'll definitely make this again soon.